Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about common multiples and common factors. So let's start with some multiples. Common multiples are a multiple that two or more numbers share. So let's get started. The question is to find two common multiples of 5 and 7. So to find multiples, what we need to do is take our number, and then we're going to either skip count. So it says right here, either write down the multiples of the first number by skip counting or multiplying the first number by 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So for example, 5 is something that might be easy for us to skip count. So I'm just going to skip count. And we would have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85. That looks like a good amount of space or a good amount of numbers. We might have to add more. We'll always have to see. But these are all multiples. They're all numbers that 5 can multiply into. So remember, they're a little different than factors. Factors are numbers that multiply to get to this number. Multiples are numbers that when you multiply by this number, you get. So it's important to make that distinction. Now the next number that we have to do is 7. So our step 2 says repeat step 1 with the second number. And as we said, our second number is 7. So 7s are not very easy for me to count by. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply. I know that 7 times 1 is 7. I know that 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5, 7 times 6, 7 times 7, 7 times 8, 7 times 9, 7 times 10, 7 times 11, and when you get here, you might need a paper and pencil or a multiplication chart, but here I go. I have tons of multiples of 7. And I like finding the multiples that are under 100 when we're trying to find common multiples. But if you are wanting to answer it right away, you can always start checking to make sure that things are correct. So it's up to you of how you want to do it. There's really no limit to where you have to stop until you get your answer. So I have my multiples of 5. I have the multiples of 7. Now I'm going to move on to step 3. And step 3 says find the numbers that are repeated on both lists. So my list says right here. Taking a look, I see that the number 35 is on both my lists. Oh, look at that. That means that 35 is one multiple because both my lists have it. When I found the multiples of 5 and the multiples of 7, they both have the number 35. Now if I look again, hey, 70 is going to be another one. So again, both my lists have 70, so that is going to be my second multiple. So the two numbers that are both lists are 35 and 70. These are my common multiples. And I've answered the question. The two first common multiples of 5 and 7 are 35 and 70. Great. Let's continue on. Now, you are going to be asked to find the least common multiple. The least common multiple is the number or the multiple that two or more numbers share. So what that means is the smallest number that both of them share. So the least common multiple of 5 and 7, in this case, is going to be 35. Because 35 is the smallest number that both 5 and 7 can multiply into equally. So least common multiples, all good. Good? Okay. Let's move on to our next section. Our next section is common factors. Oh, geez, factors are coming back again. Don't worry, we got this. So common factors are a factor that 2 or more numbers share. And let's find the common factors of 20 and 30. So now we're kind of rewinding. We need to find factors. So that is finding numbers that multiply into the numbers that we're trying to find. So I'm going to start with 20. I'm going to start with my 1 and the number itself. So that 1 and 20, because those are always going to be factors of the number. Now I'm going to try 2. Let's see. I know that 2 times 10 is equal to 20. Hey, look, we have some more factors. Now I'm going to try 3. I know that 3 times 7 is 21, but that's not 20. So 3 can't be a factor. But what about 4? Oh, yeah. 4 times 5 is equal to 20. And since we already have 5 written down here, there's no more factors to use. So my factors of 20 are 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. Great, we did step 1. Now let's move on to step 2. Find the factors of the second number. Oh, well, that makes sense. So again, I'm going to start with 1 and the number itself. Then I'm going to try 2. Let's see, it's an even number, so that must mean that something times 2 equals 30. And that number is 15. 2 times 15 is 30. Now I'm going to try 3. 3 times 10 is equal to 30. Oh, good, we're almost there. Let's see, 4. I know 4 times 8 is 32. And 4 times 7 is 28. None of those are 30, so 4 doesn't work. But what about 5? Oh, yeah. 5 times 6 is equal to 30. So those are going to be my factors since we already have 6 written down. We have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. Whew, that's a lot of factors there. Now let's move on to our next step. Step 3. Find the factors that are listed on both lists. Okay, that's what we need to find. So if I take a look at both my lists, I see that 1 is a factor for both of them. 2 is a factor for both of them. See, I have a 4 and a 3. That doesn't match up. But wait, the 5s do. 5 and 5. 6, no. Look at that. We have 2 10s. So my factors that are the same, because the rest of these don't match up, are 1, 2, 5, and 10. Are the factors of 20 and 30. Oh, let me write that down. There we are. Now, just like with multiples, they're going to ask you to find one particular number, and that is going to be the greatest common factor, often written as GCF. And the greatest common factor is or the number that 2 or more numbers share when factored. So we had 1, 2, 5, and 10 that were the factors of 20 and 30. The biggest of these numbers is 10. So therefore, the greatest common factors of the numbers 20 and 30 is 10. because 10 is the largest factor that they have in common. So for factors, we're finding the biggest number that both of them share. So the biggest number that can be multiplied to equal both of those numbers. And that's it for today. Hope that this helps. If you have any questions, please let me know.